Yo. All right. Get you. All right. About to get on here. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to go ahead and pull up my screen and everything. What's up, what's up, what's up? Let's see if I can go ahead and get the window set. So my main goal of this whole entire stream is just really getting the information out on how I did a lot of the sound design on this track, and nobody's heard really the full MP3 version of it. So here we go. I'll make sure this other one's good too. So, all right, this is the session. Let me go ahead and pull up these apps real quick. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna play it from here if it'll play through without any issues right now. But sometimes it'll actually system overload because I haven't played it for a while, but I may have had the track pulled up. So what I ended up doing was I had started the beat with a lot of the sounds, found a sample that I wanted to work with, and I reconfigured it. I'm zooming in so you can kind of see, like, this was the basic, just how it sounded, without anything, no enhancements or no chops or anything going on. So it's just this. I think this has the mastering chain on it as well. Nah, I gotta fix it. And there I chopped it, but that's how it went. It was like do 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 do. All right, so that's how it sounded without anything on it. I wanted to go ahead and EQ, so this is not, I guess I'm kind of getting into it. Oh, let me not get ahead of myself real quick. All right, let me go ahead and play the track. That way y'all can hear it in like full fidelity. That's the word for it. I think so. I'm trying to use big words. All right, so this is what we got. Oh, and it also has Shawty's. Actually, let me go ahead and play this real quick, just because this was the first thing I heard, and I had to rework the whole entire sample in order for it to fit, like readjust it how it was hitting. Here you go. Shawty swing my way. Y'all look good to me. Now what you please. So yeah, that's that. The Shawty Swing My Way part, and then, like I said, in the video, Aaliyah kind of just came to me and it was like she told me to go ahead and put her in here. So I went ahead and did that. And I mean, this is one of the songs I loved, like before she even got with Tim, and after she got with Tim, like I liked everything she had pretty much done. She was always one of my favorite R&B artists, and I've always wanted to work with just a dope R&B singer, a female singer. Guys, I've worked with plenty of guys, but not as many females. I don't know why. But all right, so this is it. Say, can you feel? Let me see you go.
Girls and hit the party scene tonight. Oh, it's alright. So get up and let this funky mellow groove get you in the mood. 'Cause you know it's alright. Yeah, keep on grooving. Don't stop moving. Let me see you. Let me see the.
And then we're just gonna let the beat ride out right here.
Now's the time for you to make your move to the dance floor. So throw your hands in the air and wave them around like you just don't care. It's the L-I-Y-A-H, flipping at the stage. I got jazz personality, cheap mentality, just so train. Keep on moving, don't stop moving. Now let me see you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And the drums. Thanks, bro. I'm actually about to go ahead and get into the actual sound design of it. Alright, so that's the track. Alright, so that's the track. And forget my grocery over here watching American Dad. Alright, so like what we started out with were just this guitar. I wish I could bring up the full. Actually, I can. I'm just gonna stretch that out. All right, so we have the full sample like this, and this is what the effects I put on it. And like the reason why I picked that, it just, and it was before I even thought about the sample. It's just the sonics, the sonics in the actual guitar sounded really good by themselves. So let me take off some of the things that I did to it. Like, so by itself, it sounds like this. But you hear how flat it does. It doesn't have a punch. It doesn't have a clip or anything like that. It just kind of just hits and it's dull. So what I wanted to do with that was go ahead and EQ. I didn't want too much for where the kick was going to hit or where the bass was going to be at, because I could tell it had some low end, but not enough to really bother me that much when I'm starting to add the other sounds. So I wanted to mold it. So molding it, and that's what a lot of people actually mess up on when they're actually working on their mixes, or they're just putting sounds together and they're not even trying to mix it like this. But adding little like big boosts and like really deep cuts sometimes can actually just transform the sound, and that's what you want because you're going to end up feeling it a different way. So like once I started EQing it, this is what I got. So A, B. So you hear a little more bite. There's a little more bite like than this. I didn't know. You hear it? So that's what I wanted, a lot more bite in it. So I went ahead and made sure I did that. All right, and make sure it's there. But
power off.
oh, that's my speaker, another speaker. All right, then I also added this. This is an old plugin. I've known about this since since Full Sail days back in like 2010. But the Maserati guitar plugin, it's just a very quick, easy to use plugin. Maserati, I forget his first name, but he's a really good engineer. Worked with a lot of big name artists and bands, mainly bands. So he made this plugin that's based off of his kind of presets, and Waves created this, or helped him create this, and it has just like some things that he would normally do with a guitar. And you can go in there and mess with presets, but I had a certain sound I was looking for, and I've dealt with this plugin a little bit more. So I went ahead and just dug in. Sensitivity is going to be like the compression, and like I added some presence, tamed it just a little bit, and then had to turn it down. But it has some other effects on it, like it has like clean chorus on it. So what I did here, this is what it sounds like before and after. So here we go. Get the before and after. Like you see, it really boosted the sound right here. And I had to be careful of that. But like it fills it out so much more, and it has a different like deepness to it. So all right, so we had the guitars, but I wanted it to do more than just this little strum. So I was just listening to it over and over again, and then I like just really felt more so than heard like these little reverse parts in here. So I just cut from the original sample here and brought these parts in here that were chopped. So this is what you have. There, hold on. So here we go. Oh, and I did some crazy EQ and reverb effects to make this sound even more unique than just coming from straight this from the sample. So like it adds just a little more depth to the sound than just being a regular guitar strum. And I also did some things with the reverb that's put on this. So let me get this one here. Oh, no, not that one. Where's... Oh, okay. So let's do... Alright, so let's do this part here. This part here, because it has this part that I actually went a little further in on sound designing. So you got the guitars. These are the reverse guitars. I went ahead and took these and reversed them, and then threw a reverb on it. All right, so we'll play this part too. this part here, like that. Like when I heard that part in here, I knew I wanted to do more than what I was doing on this part. Like, cause these are all just little chops from inside of this main sample. So like if I go back into this main sample, what I did was, so like you hear that like right here, this part right here, that's loop. That. So I took that and you see it's right in the same spot. So that's actually just, I put some effects on it and then I threw it out to a reverb. So listen to it this. So listen to that whole little section right here, just this little part right here. So it sounds way different because it has this thrown reverb that actually has more effects on it. And this is just like, I come up with this stuff really quickly. Like as far as figuring out what I want the sound to sound like, just because like there's certain tools, certain things that I'm used to doing just to make things sound different. Because I'm pretty sure we've all been there where we had just some whack sounds. Yeah, this is all the same chord, like da-na, da-na, or same progression, like da-na, da-na. So here. And it sounds like it's really mainly hold on. It's really just somebody kind of letting go of the guitar. I forget. I don't actually play a guitar, but it's like that strum where they let go, or they release some of the strings, and it makes that kind of like feedback sound. I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like it's a nuance that they have in some guitars where they actually cut it out a lot of times, just so they have a clean sounding guitar. But on this, like all I did was chop it up, and I sound designed it with like EQs and reverbs, and like I want to try to find one of them that I actually just like this here. Okay, because this part I actually like. All right, so we got this. Like that do 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 do, like that's what I'm hearing when I'm actually playing this back. Yeah, exactly. Like like really, I mean, I think a lot of sauce is in LFOs and envelopes, because like you can take a basic sound, like anything from like Atmosphere or any plugin you have, but once you start messing with those knobs, you get an initial sound that sounds way better than what you originally had, like what came from the preset. And when you can start getting in there digging with external plugins, rather than just what's inside of the plugin itself, you get way more creative and you can get a different vibe. Like, let's see if I can click this here. All right, so this just has a delay on it, and what I also did with it, let me see if I can pull this part so you can hear the original. The original sounds like this. And I want you to pay attention to right here where this part is coming in. I have it muted right now, so we're going to play that back, and then you'll hear what I did to make it kind of pop out and actually seem like there's something there rather than just somebody fiddling around on their guitar. So it's like, so that's just what it sounded like. It sounded like somebody just like they let go of the guitar. I forget what kind of sound that is, but that's what was there. And I was like, nah, I wanted to sound like more tonal. Tonal is the word for it. So I put a spreader on there. I chopped it. I put a spreader on there because for certain sounds, I like things wide. And I can always tell when I need or feel like, no, I need that wider. So I get plugins like this, like a stereo imager or something like that, and work with it. And I love Ozone. I actually got a lot of these Ozone plugins from Isotope, Isotope plugins from them through a kind of just like a deal we have where I'm going to definitely show a lot of their plugins when I start getting into like deeper mastering. As far as like teaching on the channel here, but yeah, like I imaged it out and just made it really wide. One of my favorite plugins is this Ozone Imager. Like just being able to control which, like just being able to control where where it's getting wider at. I love that, especially if I can make sure that the low. You never really want your sub bass like really wide because like it just, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't hit. It doesn't sound right. It like, especially because you want your sub there a lot of times, or your kick, and you want that hitting dead center. You don't want it sitting on the sides of the headphones and just it sounds weird. There might be a creative application for it. Mixing and mastering, yeah. Like this is a mastering plugin, like this right here, Ozone 9. But really all it's about is just like getting the sound the way that you want it. Like, so I'll go ahead and play this so I can stop talking about it. Like, I'll play it without the effects and then with the effects so you can hear how it blends in to like the rest of the progression that's going on. So. So it has a lot of brightness and then it has that echo in there. So, and I have a mastering channel, so it's going to sound a little just like kind of out there without the rest of the instruments playing. So here we go. Let's play this part. All right, so all right, so that was that. This is just the guitar by itself. Like there's nothing really else going on until I started adding a lot of the other sounds. So we get into the layering after the main sample has been cut, chopped, and sound designed and everything like that. And that's where a lot of people are, I feel like a lot of the beat makers and producers, especially in the BEATCLUB Academy, they may need to dig a little deeper into this if that's their I don't know. It would just help them a lot more if they actually dug in a little bit into like figuring out these plugins and the sound design of them. Did I even play this back with the effects on it? Hold on. Let's go ahead and play that real quick with the effects on, because I don't think that actually had the effects on. It just had the volume up. Okay, here we go. So pay attention right here. So you see, like, without that, it wouldn't sound as filled. Like, so I'll play it back from here. And really, I would want, if like I was not gonna have this part here, I would just cut this, which I might do for a final version. So the thing is, now that I've done that, I might actually do that on each one, just because I know it sounds a little brighter. It sounds a little bright, like almost way too bright. But with the other instruments, it almost fits. But it almost sounds too bright when I have both little cuts playing, even though the other one has like effects and stuff on it. So like this is what I'm listening to when I'm actually creating, and I just make these adjustments pretty quickly, and especially while I'm arranging. So we got that. So we got the guitars. Now we're gonna go into the other additional sounds. So let's do this whoa little part. I don't know why I called it whoa. Please forgive my fiance of it. Tess, can you close the door or turn down the TV? Alrighty. So this little whoa part is actually just like a, I don't know, it was a random bass sound that I found inside of Omnisphere, but I didn't want to use it. I just used this one little part just to kind of fill a piece. Like I fill a piece from what the guitar sounded like. So here we go. And that's all it is. And like when it comes up here, it plays more, but it's the same thing in the same exact note. And what all it does is it fills up space. So here we go. You hear it? So that's what it's doing. It's just like minus these parts here. And that's all it's doing. And it was just a bass line that I found, like a little bass sound. But then I went ahead and EQ'd it. When we get into the EQ of this sound, this is how it sounds without the EQ. So it just sounds kind of flat. Like I could hear where it was going, but I wanted a little bit of that sub just to kind of rumble, and I wanted some of that brightness, but I didn't want a lot of the body. So as you can see, the body's going to be found right between like 200 and like 500. That's where mud and body and thickness is really going to be at. More so about actually thickness is going to be really around like 500 to 800. Like as far as how thick something's going to sound. As far as like just big body and bass, you're going to hit right down here. 100, 200 less. So I made sure I boosted that and cut where I needed to so it didn't sound too muddy. So what would you like to like know about? Are you more so interested in like just like the chords or like how everything blends together? Because like from these guitar chords, like how it all blends is really just like now it's all in the levels. Like you start setting levels, and I mix very low. So let me take my mastering chain off so things don't come up too loud. There we go. All right, so the mastering chain, take that off. So like I mix really low. This is how it sounds without any of the mastering. Like I'm just gonna play like a little bit of it so you see like how low I actually mix. Let's see if I put the kick in there. So. So like I really mixed really low, and that's where I started the blending at. So if I go into these guitars, all right, got the guitars. The next piece of this is going to be, besides that bass, because I found that it was actually this Sympathy Samp, which is I found some sounds in Arcade, and I just found something. I'm gonna have to cook up live for for everybody to get like the real feel of everything that happened. But so like the other sounds besides the guitars, like this. So it's just like really that. I thought there was more. All right, hold on. Here we go. There we go. So this is where a lot of the sounds come from, especially because of the guitar playing. It helped with the the reverse, the reversals that I put on here with these chops. If you're following me. So these guitar chops here. In hearing what it sounds like, let me take this off. In hearing what it sounds like. So like after hearing how that sounds, I definitely wanted something to just fill in the little spaces, because there's those big gaps of sound. So you want to fill that. You don't want to just leave it there and think that your bass line is going to fit it, or your 808 or your kick's going to fit it. Why not go ahead and start just finding other sound samples to just kind of like mix and put together. So this is what we have. You can hear the reverses and everything that's going on in there, and that's what gives it the sonics that kind of just like capture your ear. It's ear candy. So here we go again. Alright, gonna put the mastering on there so it just sounds a little better. But like now you can hear how those parts come in between the and at the end of these chopped guitars that are just reversed, and then it like flips more of a reverse on it because you get these little pieces and nuances that I added. That do 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 do. So that's how it sounds. That's how it sounds. Like, but I don't know, when you hear it and it fits, you just go with it. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just put it down. You can figure everything else out later. Like, don't overthink when you are layering. Don't overthink it. Cause like then you start getting little pieces like this, and you're just like, okay, yeah, it's just a vocal sample, but the way you play it, the way you add it in there, it just all depends on your ear and what you really hear from somebody. And all right, so we got that little vocal sample in there as well. Just to I don't know, everybody has that. It has a little vocal sample, and I've always sang out melodies, so it's always actually worked to where if I can play one and it already has a melody to it, I'll just make it fit, and I'll just put effects on it and work it out that way. All right, and from here we also have chords. So weird flutter chords, this little part right here. This is actually supposed to be set for a bridge. That's why it sits kind of low in the mix. And I kind of let the 808 do a lot of the work. Oh, okay. So I let this 808 do a lot of this work. So. Sounds a little weird. I don't know why. But when it's all blended, because like the chords that I played in here were just really kind of fitting in where the guitar was at. So let's see. I'll use that. All right. And like you can barely hear it in there, but like if I took it out, you would be able to tell that there isn't that slight buzz that the track has when there's no pieces in there. Like that, it doesn't have as many pieces. So it's like So it's like little pieces in there that are actually just building into it to kind of fill out spaces. And when you just take a sample, and like this is what a lot of people do, is like they'll take a sample, because I used to do the same thing, and I hated sampling after that because I started doing that. I was like, oh, this is what sampling is. You just go ahead and take this loop and you put it in here. You put some drums on it. You may add a couple sounds on there, but that's it. You add your drums and you're good. And I was like, nah, that's not really how it is. Like, there's more to it. And the fact that I am able to play just a little bit, like, you just start listening. You listen and you add. Listen and add. Then somebody will end up figuring out what they need to take away. That's kind of how like I've done it, because like when you're in a studio, and I've been in studio sessions where like you're there with like other producers and people that are working, putting in the work, all have musical talent, and you as an individual, you may have these little pieces that you always add into your tracks when you're doing them by yourself, but when you collaborate with somebody or a group of people, your little pieces turned into like some major things sometimes, and it's just like you don't expect it because you're like, man, I do this all the time, and it happens that way. And then people are like, well, I want that. I want you to keep putting this stuff in my track, and you start putting in a lot of pieces, and then they take out parts and put in parts, and I think a lot of people are kind of nervous about either putting it in too much instead of just letting the music kind of like just talk for itself once you get everything together. So I've always been that way, adding as many sounds as I feel necessary, and then if I have to remove some, I might remove it completely and not even use it. Or like, as you can see, like in an arranged beat, like there's change ups, there's switch ups, you can add little pieces. Like this thumper here is literally just a wide kick that comes in at certain parts. It's just really a wide kick. But like it adds something, because when I throw the drums all together and you hear that boom boom come in, it sounds like something. So let's see an example of that. So and forget that 808 for some reason. Like that was like really loud or distorting a little bit. So those little things there, and this little B sound, this is actually coming from, I have a kit that has a whole bunch of Super Smash Brothers sounds, one of my favorite games. Hold on, I'm still getting my keyboard. Because if y'all remember, I think it was Super Smash Brothers Melee that this one came from. I'm not gonna pick up my keyboard. Oh, this is whack. Oh, there we go. Alright, so. No, there it is right there.
Bang, bang. Wow. Pow, pow. Hoo, ha, hee, hey.
You got Luigi there. Kirby. I know a lot of people have these, but like I heard it and I just wanted to throw it in there because it kind of like just fit, and it's really low. So when I put the other sounds in here, well, it's not too low, but low enough to like feel and hear. So, like, you just kind of hear it in there, and it fills in spaces, like especially with drums. Like still growing on my drums, but like I like adding like little pieces in here, like random random sounds to just kind of fill in spaces. All right, so where are we at now? I guess we can kind of get into because we got the vocals, we got that part, the drums. My drums are to get like a really big thump. This is what I did. And I have a specific plugin that I use for 808s. This is just the one that's kind of stuck with me so far. I'd like to try some other ones, but some 808 plugins. But this is one, Beatmaker 808 Bass Module 2. I don't know where I found it at, but got it, and it's really cool. Like, yeah, a lot of, they're really, I feel like they're rich, and you can add like more mixing to it to make them sound a certain way. But oh, here we go. I had to do some definitely bring that volume down on the 808, but here we go. So like, I wanted a lot more body in my kicks. I was noticing a lot of some of my kicks weren't having the body they needed. So by actually bumping it up, and usually 100 is that real sweet spot to like just like throw it up, throw it up so you get some punch in your kicks, some liveliness in your kicks. But I wanted just a little more of that mid, just to kind of like. I feel like mids hit you kind of like in the throat almost, like especially mid lows, they hit you more so in the throat. And like if you start hitting like 100 to 80, you start getting into like your gut. So by doing that, that's what kind of like makes, and molding it around that, like as you see like right here in the 200, the 300, like it's super like broad, it's super cut, rather than like this slight boost. So it just makes the 808 sound a little different. And with the 808, I was just kind of going with the way the strums. That's me. So going with the strums, it was just kind of in the kick. It was like. With the kick, one of my tricks for kicks and 808s to kind of get them to fit, if you're not doing like a lot of off beat 808 patterns, like ones that just kind of like speak tonally rather than just go with the kick or on the kick, like this, like just on the kick. These are both like hitting in the same area. Hold on. Kick. Oh, there's the 808. So the 808, it just has pitches. And then the kick is just doop, doop, doop. Just like that. So you notice they hit at the same time, but that's another reason why I had to really dig into like making sure that the kick and the 808 were not hitting in the same exact place, because otherwise it starts sounding like this. Let me take off the kick EQ and the 808 EQ. I'm gonna take off somatics and this EQ. So this is what it sounds like Oh, hold on, let me take the mastering channel too, because that's just gonna distort everything. Okay, so without EQing those parts, you start hearing things like this, and you don't want that because it doesn't sit well in the ears. So like it almost sounds there, but it's just like you can make it sound better. And then once I threw the master on there, that would just be terrible. But when you fix the 808 a little bit, I mean the kick, you get, instead of sounding like this, so instead of sounding like that, it has a lot more body and a lot more character by doing this. And I cut off this really, really low end, right around like 47.8, because I have a lot of sub. The 808 is going to need that space. So if I leave it in there, you're going to start hearing that rumble and fight between, can I actually hear the kick punch through, or is the 808 just covering everything? So when you get there, get to that point and you're hearing that, go ahead and get into your EQ, like, because obviously your samples are fighting, and either picking good samples or molding your samples into like the best quality that you can make them is what's going to separate you from sounding like you have poopy whack paper drums and some actual body throat punch kicking drums. So, and everybody says this, but so you got this. Like that just sounds way too low. It doesn't need that because the 808 is gonna hit that. So I wanted that punch, and with the 808, you got, like, it still doesn't sound too good. It's because that 808 is just everywhere in the frequencies that it has. Like, all right, let's do this, and if I take these all off, okay, there we go. So it's just lower volume. Like, look at all the frequencies that this is hitting. Like, if you compare it to where the kick is hitting without any processing on it, well, just a little bit of processing. And you can hear it when the bass hits certain notes, when the 808 hits certain notes, you can hear it almost disappear or sound muffled. The kick sounds muffled. So the way to get rid of that type of like fighting is by just really cutting the lows out. You don't need them. Not the ones that go below what a lot of speakers can produce. So like here, even though this is a sub or 808 sub, like, speakers aren't really going to produce 31 and under, or you can at least help them out by rolling it off, and then you can like kind of like either boost anywhere or just roll off that 30, 35 and under hertz, because it's not going to do anything but build up. And the more tracks that you have that are built up with those, no problem, bro. This one, it's just a graphic actually. Just like a channel EQ, graphic EQ that shows. Yeah, like it just has a visual. And this is just the regular Logic EQ. It isn't like anything special. So like if you have Fruit Loops, or you have I think you said you have Ableton or something. But if you have like Ableton or something, which you can, there's an EQ in there, I'm pretty sure that has it where you can see the visual. Like I have a whole bunch of different EQs, but when I'm just trying to do something quickly and get it working, I'll just go ahead and grab that. My favorite EQ, one of my favorite EQs. And I love this console too. Yeah, it's just a good old SSL EQ, but there's no because I like SSL, so I say Logic. analog gear. Yeah, I love SSL. But like I was saying about the kick and the 808, like now that I've cut these lows, these super lows out, and especially here on the kick because I don't need it to even get anywhere near as low as the 808. So now when you put it together, it's not gonna fight. So we got that. And also as far as drums, you cut the top of it. Sometimes I do, sometimes. Because you don't, depending on your 808, if you do have the, oh, hold on, where is, boop, 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 there you go. Yeah, so this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, there's not really anything up here, but just so that there's nothing and if there's no distortion or anything that I need to like boost, because like sometimes you'll actually find an 808 that you like that has like a really nice buzz to it and you want that to pop out, you can sound design that simply by EQing and figuring out where it's at. Like if I wanted more buzz, but I don't. So like I just keep like that. I forget what I had it at now, but it doesn't sound bad. So what would you call it then? Because maybe that's where some people are getting confused. Because like, no, this is EQing. Some people think, oh no, I just need to boost just a little bit, or I need to just cut just a little bit. And it's like, yeah, you could do that too. But like, if you're going to get surgical with this stuff as filtering, oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, when you do high pass and low pass, that's just filtering. But when you're actually digging into the types of EQs you're doing, like the different cuts and boosts that you're doing, like that's actually what they call is additive and subtractive EQing. Subtractive EQing is usually the first thing most people do. They don't want certain sounds or they don't like a certain sound, so they take it out. You just subtract it by cutting off or filtering out those things. But what a lot of people don't do is get creative. You're really supposed to get creative when you start EQing, and that's where some of the fun is. Like, cause all right, so let's say, all right, let's see. Let me find a sound that's steady. All right, so here we go. Let's take these little reversal parts right here. It actually doesn't look like I EQ'd these at all. Did I EQ? Okay, no, so I didn't EQ these at all. Maybe before I brought it down. Nope. Just in the bus. So like without this. Okay, I'm gonna put the master on just I know that's gonna add a little more to the sound. You know what? Should I? Yeah, it's just gonna exaggerate it, but this is gonna exaggerate the sound. But this is what it sounds like coming out. Oh, you're all good. I haven't set some of these properties up as far as like, or some of those like commands and stuff up yet. Still getting all that done. Like this is just filtering. Like what I did on this channel, which is just a bus. Like I sent this, as you can see, it's bussed out to 15. 15's right here. That's the input. And then that is bussed out to another bus that what does that do? I think that's just the overall volume of the instruments actually. So, all right, so we got that sound, this sound here. And like I said, people don't get yeah, bus is just it's pretty much a audio channel where you can send a signal out to. So, for example, I'm not sure how it looks in your program, but see how this one is? This is the mixer here. Actually, let me go to the whole mixer channel. All right, so this is the mixer screen. And on the screen, this is that little part I'm playing right now, looping. And you see the other. Like what you do as far as like what I'm saying with sending, like you see how it has an output. Yours probably has something similar, and I just took the output, and instead of just letting it go out to my regular speakers, or just the master output, I send it over to a bus, which is that whole entire signal. If I'm doing it from here, that whole entire signal, all of this is now being sent over to bus 15. So it's being sent to right here. I have to organize these better. But it's being sent here. So now you can see the signals. Well, I have all the instruments going here, but that's it right there. And then I just have it EQ'd right there. But then I go to 11, bus 11, because it goes from 15. Hold on, here we go. So we're going from 15 here, which has the actual sample. I'm sending that over to bus 15 so I can EQ it. And there's other sounds conjoined all up in this bus. That's why when I solo this, you start hearing the rest of the sounds. You start hearing other tracks that are sent to bus 11. Or bus 15. Well, that's mainly just an EQ channel, and then bus 11 is actually... What was that? Yeah, see, and bus 11 is just controlling the volume of instruments. So it's just another way to control and add more plugins and stuff onto it. So that's all that is. But all right, so let's get into like what I could do with this little part right here. Because like with the sound that it has, and it's going with that guitar, or going on the reverse in the guitar, which is already bright. Okay, where's the guitar? All right. The guitar is already very bright, especially because I've already EQ'd and brought things up on it. So yes, exactly. Like it's actually really good for that. Because in here, for some reason, I almost forgot how to bring my auxiliaries into here. But once I start automating, if I wanted to automate one of those buses, those other channels, you throw that in, and it has I mean, if you have a lot of sound sent to it, then you can start throwing effects on it and make them come in and out as you want to, and you can start molding the whole entire track to sound completely different from what you had. Like, and that's where some of the creative pieces come from. Of course, when you're just like working on a beat and you want to get the idea out, I wouldn't be thinking about all of these things that you could do. But these are kind of like just tips and tricks I want to show as many people as possible. Because I went to Full Sail and I learned a lot of these things, and I picked up and they locked in on me. There's a lot of things that just kind of like stuck with me, and I continuously do. And I'm noticing that it's actually a part of my sound now. And if other people can add certain pieces of this knowledge into their sound, who knows where they could go. Like, I want everybody to be able to just like really just dig in. So if you can dig in, I'm a plugin nerd. So if I can show as many people the plugins that I like to use and how I like to use them, then I'll do that. That's why I got the support from Isotope. It's just literally by just knowing that this is what I want to do. This is kind of where I've been at, like mixing and music production, as well as like sound design has always been my thing. Plugins have always been my thing. So, all right. All right. So, on this, I should have already. There you go. There it is. I should have already cut out these lows because, as you can see, actually this one's actually pretty good. But like, if it was like a sound that I could tell had a lot more low end, I would just go ahead and cut it anyways. Even though it may not be showing up on this graph, it's good to sometimes you can just cut it. And there's simpler EQs you can use too, like in here on Logic, just to do a simple cut, single band, and you can change it to low or high, and then just slide. It's a knob. It's literally like a. Let me just go ahead and pull it up. Like some plugins you don't really need like external plugins, or for certain sounds you don't need external plugins. You can just take like, this is a single band EQ, but to make everything sound a lot better, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. Let's do what? Yeah, low cut. So let's cut that low cut. Let's cut it at 22. Like, and it'll do the same exact thing this does without all of the processing power that this needs to show the graph. What would you call it then? Because I mean, that's the only way I could think of. I mean, it has, I figured like almost a mashup too. But I like taking acapellas and really just and working with them. Yeah, I'm not sure of the term or what to put it. Alright, so here we go. So let's say we can get wild, and I don't want all this body that's in here. Like, I could take it out. So I would make this a little wider. Probably not that wide. Like, but now that I've done this, like, you can hear that now it sounds very thin. It doesn't sound like it has body. But when I pull it up, like, you hear a little more thickness. If I boosted it, then you'll definitely hear the thickness that's right here, that's sitting here. Yo, new shit. Okay, maybe I have to figure out how to rebrand that aspect of it. But you're right. You're definitely right. Like, I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm putting remix / mashup, but I don't know if that's what it is either. Really, like, I kind of just like, yeah, and it's not really a sample flip because I didn't sample the actual song, not like how I want to do, and which I'm probably going to do a little bit tonight. I had an idea for D'Angelo's Brown Sugar. And maybe mixing that with an Aaliyah song too, because Aaliyah, there's an interview where Aaliyah actually wanted to do a, she had always wished of doing a track with D'Angelo. They were about to, or they were starting to, and they got too busy and they weren't able to do it. So I got Brown Sugar, like the acapella, and I have the song, so I can probably mess with it a little later tonight. Yeah. Like I said, like in this track, I started hearing Shorty sing My Way as well, and all I had to do to get all of this stuff to, well, no, I said all. Then reimagining. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'll have to look at the thesaurus or something like that. It's like, what's another word for reimagining that I could put in that's very short, simple, and easy to use as a. It's kind of like a branding thing. Yeah, for the original, for Aaliyah's back and forth, because this acapella wasn't the best acapella. I had to put like an X noise on there, sound shifted, EQ it like crazy. I had to make it sound a little fatter. Sorry. My iPhone. And then I had to brighten it up at the same time, like even though I took out a lot of the highs. I've layered vocals before. I've actually audio engineered and layered the vocals before, but on this one, on this track, I didn't really do much. I just kind of like went through mixing it so that it would sound the best. That could make it like, here's how. Take this off real quick. So without any of this, this is what this acapella sounds like. Yes. When you record vocals, like when I record vocals, I would always like either do three or five. I like five more. And maybe even more depending on if they're background, like a lot of background vocals or something like that. But yeah, you get those takes, and then you pan them left and right. Some of them go slightly left, some go slightly right. And like I do that with like hi-hats and stuff too a lot of times. But when you do it with vocals, that's how you get that widening effect. And then yeah, you can go ahead and like change the octaves and all that stuff.
It's Friday, and I'm ready to slang. Pick up my girls and hit the party scene tonight. Oh, it's alright. So
like this, the like the regular mix on that didn't sound that good. So I had to take this, the X mark.
it's Friday, and I'm ready to slang. Pick up my girls and hit the party.
Uh-oh. My bad. I had an alarm playing. Alright, so we got the channel EQ. I had to EQ that.
It's Friday, and I'm ready to slang. Pick up my girls and hit the party scene tonight. Oh, it's alright. So get up and let this.
It was like the brightness, like after doing the fatter and the brightness, the brighter, like it actually brought it out a lot more to make it fit on top of the beat. And then of course I had to throw some reverb on it to give it some space.
It's Friday.
Yeah, had to give it some space. And then
Say, can you feel
Let me see you go.
Euphoria?
That's my girl. But yeah, so that's pretty much this track. Without going like really far and deep into like some of the other plugins that I have in here. So right now I'm actually gonna go ahead and try to see if I can figure out something for.
Can you feel
Let me see you go.
All right. So I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out something for this. Did you have any other questions, bro? Or hey, actually, maybe you can help me out. You have any questions for Tim? Because I'm actually trying to compile a whole bunch of questions that Tim can answer when he's streaming and they're in between beats and stuff like that. So I'd like to go ahead and get as many suggestions. I'm gonna go ahead and post in Discord after the stream and see if I can pull some people to shoot me some questions.